As you know, I do the slot cars, but I also had a hobby in the past of radio control cars. And I used to race Mardave Minis and Mardave Meteor 1/10 scale buggies in Ireland years ago. And so in my quest to find some race buddies or some sports or something to get into after being told I can't ride my motorcycles anymore, I'm also going to get back into radio control cars. So this video is just about building a hill for a radio controlled crawler car, which are 1/24 or 1/18 scale cars. That's what I'd be into. Now they do bigger scales, 1/16, 1/10, 1/5, 1/8, you know, you can get bigger crawlers. But for the moment, I want 1/24 that's perfect for indoors. You could use outdoors as well, but you can build a big indoor track. And 1/18, again, perfect for indoors. A little bit bigger, good for outdoors as well. So that's what I have coming. So I decided to start by building a hill. And this is similar to what I've done with the hills for my slot car track. The only difference is that this particular hill was made out of bits of cardboard and then covered with bandage wrap, this plaster wrap. So this is a new way of doing it, just to see how it works, and I will use it again in the future. So just to lead into why I made this video, and no, I'm not getting out of slot cars. I'm going to incorporate the slot cars and the radio control crawler cars into my track and eventually into my garage. This is just another angle on the channel. Okay guys, have a look at this, see what you think. Appreciate any comments, and likes, subscribers, always welcome. I'm making this mountain or hill for my rock crawler. So what the plan is here is going to be that I'll put some plaster bandage on here. Okay, so I'm just gluing these parts down. This is just to hold all this down, this here. And it's on a board which can be lifted off the slot car track. So that's what I can just remove it when I want to use the slot cars. So what I'll do is I'll put my bandage here, up here, over here, here, and then the car will be able to come around up onto the track, and then I'll determine if I'm going to do another piece going down, or maybe I'll have something sitting here for going around here. So that's just the first, this is the first time I've made a little piece, a little hill for my rock climber, my rock crawler. Now my first rock crawler is a traxxas 1/18 scale Ford. It's the high Ford, as you'll see in the title. So I'm waiting for that to be delivered. So while I'm waiting, I just thought I'd start doing some things. And the plan is to build some various removable pieces to also put on my slot car track. At the back here, I think I'll have a couple of hills and some sort of a rope bridge or something here. And in the center section, I'll use this original piece as a hill, my slot car track. I can have a hill coming up here. And then here, I'm free to add pieces and remove them whenever I want to. And again, on the straight, I could do some sort of a long piece here with some sort of a rocks or something. So so that's the plan. Going to incorporate the RC cars and the slot cars. I don't think I'll be using this for my crawlers because I don't want to ruin this. They'll damage things, like they'll damage my railings, and these are all easily damaged here. And also this area will be out of bounds. This area here, I can do anything I like. I can make a piece of wood, and I can build a mountain, a hill, whatever I like on this section. You know, so that's easily done. And I can have some sort of a bridge joining here to here. So it's just a bit of fun. It's a little wee bit of fun. And we'll be building a bigger track later. So this is just to incorporate the crawlers for an indoor track for during the winter. So this is just a little project I'm adding on to my slot car project. So here I am. I'm going to use this stuff, which is basically the plaster wrap stuff that they use for when a patient breaks their arm or leg in the hospital. And this is the stuff they use to make your plaster cast. That's it there. And basically you just dip that into water and you drape it over this. So this is the first time I've done this. So again, learning something new. First time I've done it. Some semi-warm water, not hot, not cold. And I'm just going to give this a go and see what happens. So I've just cut another couple of pieces here, just so that it's not too false and flat looking. So I'm going to start with my first piece, put it into my bucket and see how this all looks. Really, I've looked at it online just a little bit. I'm going to go for it then. So I probably should have studied it a bit more. But the good thing about making these for your rock crawler is that it's all made from rubbish. It's all made from stuff that's pretty much not used for anything, you know. So now I've done the one mistake that you're not supposed to do. Try not to let it fold over on itself. And I did, because the piece I made was too long and my bucket wasn't wide enough. So let's try a shorter piece. And this is very interesting. It's something I haven't done before. So I'm just going to take this piece, dump it in my water, take it out. Again, put it over. It looks like I'm going to be using a lot of this stuff because on this piece, it takes a look, guys, it takes a bit of practice. So I'm not too bothered if it doesn't look right the first time I do it. This is the very first time. So what I have is, can you see this on the camera? Yeah, I just have a bucket. Now the bucket is probably, I need a basin actually. A basin would be better for this because when it folds as soon as I put it in the bucket, which is what I don't want to happen. Or maybe if Harry had filled the bucket a bit higher. But Harry didn't think of that. Okay, let's go. Okay, this is a bit better. Oh, that's a bit better. Now, put this one up here. Yep, happy with that. And this bits of paper and all, it just sort of helps to form the shape, you know. Now this is all very level, but look, this today is a learning process. And a very interesting process. And really that piece should have draped over here, but that's okay. Keep going. Now this is definitely not going to be hard for any crawler to do. This is very, very simple. Too easy, I reckon. I think I'm going to put this in here just to make this a bit more. I'll add a bit to it there. And I can put something here now. Let's see. Let's find something, guys, and see if I can get this to work for me. We can do this without disturbing the styrofoam. Okay. Now I'm going to get something just to do on the edge here, and on the other edge here. It's looking reasonable. Some paint and some further landscaping. Okay, stand by, guys. Okay, so another few bits of styrofoam. So continue with this. And let's see how much. Now in Latvia, this stuff costs. This roll I'm using costs about €3. So I think I'm about halfway through the roll, so I reckon it's going to cost you about €3 for a piece this size. Maybe. Let's see. Okay, let's continue that over there. It's really to get the sides now to look kind of scale, you know, it's just, that's what I have left to do. As in, just to hide the sides. You can't have stuff like that showing on your model. Okay, I think I'll put this on sideways. Let's see if this works. Okay, that looks reasonable. Sorry I had my arm in your way. Okay, we're getting there. Yeah, taking shape, not too bad. Okay, are the camera still on? It is, okay. So, one more piece for here. So I'll cut quite a shorter piece right here. Let's see if that's too short. Offer that up before I put it in the water. Ah, that'll do. Dip that in the water. Okay. I'll stretch it down a bit because I wanted to mold to this baseboard that I have, which I will be painting and which will make this piece removable. So that's that side. Yeah, reasonable, happy with that. Now I need to turn it around and just finish this side. And a little bit here as well on the back. Let's keep going. Yeah, so definitely one roll of this is enough for this little piece, okay? Now, I'm not so experienced. I've seen people do it with a long strip, you know, just one long strip, two long strips, maybe three. So I'm probably not very economical with this stuff, but I'm happy enough as an experiment on a Saturday afternoon out in my garage. So okay, let's put that there. This piece can sit like this. I'm okay with that. The inside now with this little hill for joining onto the track. And I'm just putting some plaster down on top of this roll plaster because there's a lot of holes in it and I don't want it to look too unrealistic. So I'm covering it with this normal gap filler plaster. Yeah. So that's just what I'm doing here with this stuff. And it just fills in all those tiny little holes. Because I don't want a track that looks really, you know, like I didn't put any effort into doing it. So I'll get this done today. And then I'll start painting it. Now you get a different effect with this. I probably prefer the styrofoam. There's the effect you get with this. Now that's quite nice. You know, that'll be interesting for the truck to climb. But if you look at my one that I built almost entirely out of styrofoam, you can cut the styrofoam, get these very realistic looking rock faces, you know. So I think if I'm doing any more, I'll definitely do a mixture of styrofoam and a few bits of cardboard, but I think the styrofoam effect looks a hell of a lot. That's 3 sheets of styrofoam. You can see there's one to here, another one here, and a final one here, and then some other bits and pieces inside, and all glued together, and then cut with a knife to give you different looks. So I think I'll actually, I think my next few hills I might do with the styrofoam. But this is a great way also, you know, and if you're doing big hills, because inside here there's nothing, it's empty space, it's a cardboard box and some bits of paper and stuff. So interesting process, always good to learn something new. And this would probably be better for if you're doing a really big hill. This also has a mixture of expanding foam. So styrofoam to get the height and the build, expanding foam, and then cut with a knife, and then this type of plaster on top, and then painted. So I'm going to continue on with this. Let's see how this goes. So what I'm doing now is I have a mix, 50%, 50 to 50, grey acrylic paint and water, and just going to put that on as the start of the process of painting this wee hill. Now, I know some people add sand to the paint, or they glue sand on later, which is something I might do. I'm not sure how much grip the crawlers will have on this, because I haven't got a crawler yet. I'm waiting for the postman. So I'm just going to paint this, and hopefully there's a lot of texture on that already. So I'm hoping that texture will be enough for the truck to get a grip. And this hill is not a serious hill. At least I don't think it is. Again, I've looked at other guys online, and I think this hill is pretty easy. Pretty easy. So let's see how it all looks when we actually get a crawler to do its thing coming up the hill. But that's all I'm doing today. I'm going to paint this with this mix. Then I'm going to put some brown highlights on it, some runoffs for water, same as I done on my hills for the slot car track, and then go over it with a black wash, and that will be that done. I'll add some green flock and stuff onto it also, and then later I'll see what I need to do. Maybe I'll have to glue some sand or something down to areas where the tyres lose grip on the crawlers, you know, or on more severe hills I might have to put sand. And they also have the aspect of maybe the car tyres spinning will rip this paint off very quickly and expose the parts underneath, which I have seen happen with a lot of people's tracks, hills. So that's expected. If that happens, I'll put some PVA glue down or some other type of glue and some sandy surface where the actual tyres most often run, and that should protect that. So that's what I'm up to. I'm going to pause, and I'm going to go ahead and continue this until I have this ready, and then I'll put some brown accents onto it using a brown acrylic 50-50 mix. What I'm doing here is I'm just using a brown wash just to give the effect of where water has run off this hill. And at the moment it looks very, bit unusual, but once I've painted the black over that, it blends in, and then I'll highlight with some white, some dry white highlighting, and you'll see it take shape then. Just putting the black wash on this, and that's the effect you get with the black wash. So this black wash I'm using is about 6 to 1. 1 part black, 6 parts water. And I might go over some bits again if I want to darken up another little bit. But what it does is, because it's a wash, when it dries out, it gives you that look. It dries out and it gives you that sort of rock face look. Now the reason I'm doing it this particular style and colour is because I'm doing it to match all the other hills which I have already put in my slot car track. So I just want everything to blend. So that's why I'm doing it this way. I'll throw some greens on it. I might stick a couple of branches in it maybe, just to give it that very old look that it's been there many thousands of years, and trees don't grow on it because there's no nutrients, there's no soil. So, and this means in this particular part you don't need to put loads of greenery because it's just a rock face, which is a very barren place and not a great place for trees and stuff to grow. So there we are, that's how it's looking. So I'll let that dry and let's see what I do next. So I'm just doing a bit of dry brushing. So get some paint, put it on a piece of paper, get it on the brush, very little, and just highlight little areas. You'll see just little areas just come to life, you know, and just so literally very little paint. And you got to be so careful doing this because one little tiny bit paint too much and it'll come out like that. So you have to be very careful. Usually I try a bit that's not too noticeable first, and if I'm happy enough with it, I'll go a little bit further. And you can see here that it brings up certain amounts. And I'll show you what happens if you do a bit too much, and there's no problem. You can go over it with the dark wash again. There's what happens if you forget yourself and you put a little bit too much on the brush. So don't worry, not such a problem. Paint it again. And you can see, it just brings up those little areas and gives them a touch of realism. And you don't need much. I just used a bit, just scattered around, just to, and then that's it. Now that bit, I'll go over that again with a bit of black. But if you ignore the bad bit, so it's hard to see really. But it just gives you that. It just gives it that extra little bit of a touch. And if you look, you see them browns coming through. So you'll see where you had your water flowing down the side of the hill over years and years, and you know, little areas where the brown has sort of stained, and you can see where the water run down was. So it's now I'm gonna put glue a few little bits of green here and there, scattered around, very little, because it's a rock face. Maybe down the base, I might put a few little bits here just to hide the base here, and just to give it a little bit of modelling around the bottom here, just to tidy up this. I could glue a little bit of green stuff here, a little bit of flock. And let's do that. And I'll get a bit of black and run over that bit. Looking good. I'm happy enough with that. So with the flock, you only want to put a little bit of glue on. And just spread it along. It doesn't have to be too intense. And just a little bit will do you. You're not planting a forest. It's just to give it just a little bit of green. Just to give it a little bit of colour, just to the modelling. And the same in certain places. So if we just look around here and we think maybe here at the very edge, possibly. Maybe a little bit extra at the edge here, just to hide where that joins on. Just there. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue there and a little bit of flock there. Just joins where you get, just to tidy up the bit where you've joined your plaster. What will we call it? Your casualty plaster. Okay. Just very little, because this is a very barren landscape, and I want to keep that. I want to keep going with the barren landscape idea. Now, I might put a few little bits. I might put just a little bit here, you know, a few small bits. In this little gap here, I think I'll put a bit there. So, but very little, just a wee bit. So just put a little bit of glue here, just a scratch of glue here, and clean the glue off my finger, and another little bit of flock. Just there, just a bit, doesn't have to be thick, just enough to take the eye off that corner, just to draw the eye away from that corner. And I think that's enough, because later I might be gluing some material in certain places, like cat litter as gravel or something. Let's see how the cars get up this slope. I think very easily, but it'll be interesting. As I said, I'm building this slope before I even have a car, but I've measured the wheel width of the 1/16 cars and it'll work with them. So definitely the 1/24 will definitely, the Axial 1/24 type cars will definitely get up there, no problem. But yeah, I think that's looking quite realistic now. I'm quite happy with that. Okay guys, that's it with that. That's how I make my little hills. A little bit of flock there, a little bit there. That's ready to be tested. Look at this hill, blended into the track. So I think it looks quite well. I think it blends into everything else on the track. That's my first one I ever did, first little hill. So yeah, it blends perfectly. That's how it looks on my slot car track. Brings the crawler car up here and up to here. So that's how it looks. So I hope you enjoyed watching this little video of how I did this hill. And I'll be continuing on with the next hill soon, coming down here. So that's how it incorporates into my slot car track. In case some people are wondering, how's he going to do that? You know? And the thing is, it's so light, it's completely removable. Take it up off the slot car track, put it under the bench, back to slot car racing. And that's why I left this piece like this with the hole, because it sits into this hole that holds the barrier on the slot cars. Barriers. Okay, so there you go. Job done. First hill for my radio controlled crawlers.